They have the hard-hitting analysis.
I'm anti-injury, so maybe this won't work out.
Kyler's only playing one tight end this week, so that's probably going to help him out a lot.
They tell it like it is.
That's not what I needed, Grandma Nut.
All right, the hipster fantasy player.
I don't do anything.
Their listeners love them.
Found all your charts boring, to be frank. Caitlin was the star of the show.
They break down all the statistics.
20 points. That doesn't quite add up. Maybe he had 93.
This is the Snick Snack Sports Podcast.
Here we... All right, Snickers, help me out.
Oh, where's the moon? What's going on, guys? How are we doing? Welcome back to the Snick Snack Sports Fantasy Football Podcast. How are we doing today, Nate?
Where's the moon? Indeed. It's a Saturday morning podcast, just so we can make sure that our special guest for today can make it on the show. How you doing this week, Nick?
Doing well. I know exactly where the sun is right now, and I think I knew that where it's going to be next year as well.
Yeah, for me, the sun was in my eyes. I pulled the shades closed, and now it's not bothering me.
No?
So I can see you and the rest of the podcast crew.
Good job. Good job.
And another exciting week. A lot of Jerry Jones references out there for those who missed the whole sun in the eyes of CD Lamb debacle. It sounds like they're tearing down AT&T Stadium. So
after last night, yeah.
I don't know if any of you enjoyed the boxing matches last night. I know Nick and I had a lot of fun watching those. And we have a big week of fantasy ahead of us. The league has gotten actually more interesting after we have a little bit of an establishment of the middle class. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about Karsen's team because he's joining the show this week. He's one of those middle tier teams. And looking forward to it. But what happened with our bet last week?
Bet last week was so much fun. It lasted the whole week. It went down to Monday night, I think. And Jamar Chase versus Justin Jefferson versus Malik Neighbors for the record. Justin scored like 7 points. Malik, I don't know what he scored, but he's on the Giants, so who cares? And then Jamar Chase, which is your pick, I think, right?
Yeah.
Scored 8 or 9 times that. Yeah.
It was something like that. 55.9. It might have been one of the highest scores ever for a wide receiver.
Well, matching his from a couple years ago when he just went for 283 against the Chiefs and the Ravens or something like that in the same season. Yeah.
It was like 260 something yards. I think he was just 2 yards short of his own, I guess, Bengals record, which I think is pretty close to the regular record.
But yeah, 335 is the record.
But yeah, he had an amazing night. It was another really good Ravens and Bengals game. I think they had the reputation for being pretty low scoring in the past, but this year that's turned on its head and all of a sudden they're blockbusters every time.
Yeah.
Really fun.
Do you think Bengals are going to be good enough to make it to the playoffs and play them again?
That would be really cool. I would definitely tune in for that game, but I don't think it's happening for the Bengals this year. They have a bit of a tough schedule coming up, I hear. Despite being 4-6, and they're going to have to win. I think maybe they have like 2 losses left if they have any shot.
Yeah.
But our new bet this week, kind of going off the powerhouse wide receivers. We got the matchup of the D's, if you will.
Yeah, DK Metcalf on my team going up against Deebo Samuel on Karsen's team. It's Seahawks versus 49ers. They're playing each other this week, and it's going to be a really fun matchup. Do you have any guesses on who's going to win that matchup, you think?
I mean, so far, given that the score in the bets, I believe, is 8-2, I think that chances are on me, although both of these guys are big boom bust guys for sure. Deebo and DK both can have very good weeks. They also spend a lot of time not having good weeks. So it really is a roll of dice this week.
Yeah, well, I'll give you Tyshawn Raquel Samuel, and I'll take DeKalin Zacharias Metcalf from my team.
Is that their real names?
Of course it's their real names. You don't know DeKalin?
No, I had no idea.
Tyshawn Raquan?
And that must be why he goes by DK / by Deebo.
Yeah.
But now taking a look at the um, standings for this week, I think it's technically still possible for you to win the bets. You're down by 6. We're in week 10. There are 17 weeks in the fantasy season, so
Yeah, and plus a couple extra points in the playoffs. Yeah,
that's right. We changed the scoring a bit in the playoffs, but we can see what I was talking about. Now there's still these 4 teams that are almost certainly going to make the playoffs. Um, Kenny, Kyle, Nick, Ducky, and Matt. But mid-tier Nick and Karsen kind of moved back down into the middle class, and me and Kyler moved up.
yeah, yeah. No, you
Oh,
and Kyler are definitely on the way up, and Carson's lost I think 3 in a row. Nick Adams has probably lost 2 out of 3.
yeah, since Kyler joined the show a few weeks ago, he's had some very strong performances. And looking at our points for, he's now pretty high up there. Oh, actually, that's not true. He's he's still towards the bottom or the second half for points scored. But just so everyone knows, because you knew I was going to bring it up, I
Yeah,
have the most points for now.
yeah. After getting 200 points last week, I'll do it for you.
Yeah,
See
but
if you can keep it up.
other teams have gotten scores close to that this year. I think Kyle's had 160 at some point.
I think Shane had 160 in week 1, and he hasn't totaled that in the last 9 weeks.
Very true. I'm not sure any 2 other weeks combined have beat his first week.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, Shane has, speaking of which, I think Shane did score the lowest points of the year this week at 46 last week.
Yeah,
So
and Shane is officially eliminated from the playoffs.
he's officially eliminated. He's the only one because I think as long as Katie keeps winning, she'll be staying in it.
Hmm.
But she has to win every matchup and then have a lot of luck because 6 and 8 is still a really tough sell for getting to the playoffs.
Oh yeah,
Um, yeah, 4 more weeks left of the regular season, people.
yeah. I
So
mean,
it is getting to the end.
honestly, just looking at Shane's 9-game losing streak, that has to be the worst or one of the worst of league history here.
Yeah, his team really rough this year. Um,
But yeah, a couple other things happened this week other than Shane giving it win to whoever's playing him. Katie's on fire. She beat me. Got 2 wins in a row here. John didn't play a quarterback and lost by like 7 points to Ducky, giving Ducky a win. We talked about you getting 180 points there. Matt, closest game of the week, edged out a win over Karsen. That was really, really fun to follow to watch. But Kyler came in and destroyed Nick Adams here. Just took him out. So that really is what to the old swap-a-roo in the 5-or-5 category there.
yeah, this was a pretty crazy week. So there was a week, maybe 2 weeks ago, where everybody scored over 100 points besides me and Shane. This week, only 3 teams scored over 100 points, and I had 180. And then Carson and I'm sorry, Kyler and Kenny had 120, and then no one else was even in the hundreds.
Yeah, it sounds like you should have given your points to somebody else.
Yeah, that's one of those things. I know Katie says it all the time, but just like I would have loved those 80 points for some other week.
Mhm.
Distribute those over the next 3 weeks. It probably buys me a win. But um, and yeah, that one, we've got to shame people who lose because they don't set their lineup. John would have definitely won this game had he put in Caleb, actually. Yep, he would have won. 6.3 points would
Barely.
just have done it. Kirk Cousins would have certainly done it. Um, so yeah, shame on you, John. But
Well,
um,
John's loyal. He stuck through Jordan through the injury, through that game when he went out in the first quarter. He hasn't taken him out since. I don't think he's opened up the app yet. Maybe he's locked out again. I don't know how that happened exactly because you can always hit the forget password button. But
well, John's not so good with technology, I suppose. Except for that's totally not true.
so, yeah, this technology.
Um, the man's an engineer. He can figure it out. So Yeah, that was this week. What's going on around the league in the NFL?
Yeah, a couple guys coming back. Adam Thielen coming off IR. Isaiah Pacheco coming off IR. He's not playing this week. He'll come out next week. Anthony Richardson, shout out Shane's team, is back. He'll be starting for the rest of the season again. A lot of fun. A couple negatives. Laporta's out with a shoulder, most likely. All the Jaguars are out. And Dan Jones, I think they left him in Germany. He's not back in the United States yet. He's not going to be able to play anymore. That's what Giants fans are telling themselves. But yeah, he's getting benched.
Man, yeah, that hurts. This has been a very tough year for the Giants, especially with the extra scrutiny on them after being the Hard Knocks team or one of the Hard Knocks teams, because they have two.
Yeah,
Um, Although the Bears have only fared a little bit better.
yeah.
Um,
I don't know why people are so big on the Giants and Jets every year. It's like, oh, they did so many things in the offseason. They got Devontae Adams and Aaron Rodgers and whoever else. And like, it's New York football. They always suck. I know the Patriots aren't doing that great, but they're just as good as the Jets and the Giants right now.
I think they're better than the Giants, actually.
They are better than the Giants, yeah.
I feel like the Patriots are threatening not having a top pick. I think there are like six teams with only two wins.
Yeah. The Giants have number one right now, so they're probably just trying to lose out. Apparently, if they're trying to lose out, honestly, they put Dan Jones back in so we can throw six more picks, sixes. But
Well, the problem is that I think they want to cut him, and if he gets injured, they'll have to pay more money.
well, yeah, there's a lot of things we can talk about the Giants doing. Just look at who is it? Kenny's team that has Saquon scored 35 points on Thursday.
Yeah, yeah. Obviously, that move also hurts big time. But yeah. Any other news?
No, that's all I have here.
Great. So we'll get to meet with our guest for today, Karsen, in just a moment. But first, we have an ad from today's sponsor.
The holidays are upon us. It's a magical time of the year to spend with family and friends. But what if you hate your family and friends? What if they send you in a fit of rage and you're not throwing the turkey at Uncle Lenny? Well, not this year. This year, spend the holidays alone in the greatest place on earth, Mother Russia. In Mother Russia, we have it all. Winter weather, vodka, camaraderie, and we'll pay you to come here. That's right, we'll pay you to move to Russia and join our beloved family. Upon arrival, you'll sign some papers, we'll send you around Europe to see the sights, and if or when you make it back, we'll have your apartment ready for you. Make your holidays special this year, because in Russia, presents open you.
Very nice. Thank you to Russia. The tourism board is always welcome on the
Yeah, they're
podcast.
going over your head, Nate, but that's fine.
Um, and now we have a special guest in Karsen. So welcome to the show, Karsen. All right. Hey there, Karsen. How you doing this morning?
Good. How are you guys doing?
Doing good. You and I are tied in the league right now, kind of fighting for that last playoff spot. And as you just brought our attention to as you joined us, a bit of a tough break last week.
Yeah, I mean, stuff happens, beers are flowing, and we missed stuff on our roster that we should have noticed.
Yeah, what we actually, before you joined us, Nick and I had not highlighted this, but what happened with your team?
I mean, it was an awful week for me in general. I mean, I've been watching. You guys keep talking about that 110 is pretty much a guaranteed win, and yeah, I wasn't even close to it, but luckily Matt wasn't that close to it either. And if I would have had a kicker, things probably would have been a little different.
Yeah, I
shout
got
out Austin Siebert for I don't even know what his injury is, but yeah, getting rolled out pretty late before the game starting there. I think it's all going to come in.
Yeah, Saturday, that was some college footballs, beers were flowing, and Sunday morning didn't wake up until the game started, and he was already in there, I believe, or maybe that was the night game. I don't know. I wasn't really paying attention.
Yeah.
Well, we were just shitting on John for playing a quarterback on bye last week, which also cost him the week. But I do feel for you on this one because no one's paying that close attention to their kicker unless you're named Katie. And
Yeah, well,
yeah,
she's
last minute
obsessed.
kicker, absolutely. Last minute kicker injuries are just not something that I'm keeping an eye out for.
Yeah, yep. I think he's out this week too. I believe I think I dropped him. I'm not 100% sure.
He played on Thursday, so hopefully you dropped him.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Let's see. Yeah, you've got someone new in there who also
Did
um
off. Yeah,
did he
Jake
yeah,
Elliott.
he scored something.
Yeah, hey, points.
Yeah, we'll talk about this upcoming week, but the standings right now have you and I tied at 5-5. The tiebreakers are a little bit convoluted because there's four of us. So I think technically you have the tiebreaker over me, but because there's a four-way tie, I get over you because I have more points scored.
All right, it's
but,
all going to change this week after I dumpster whoever I'm playing.
That'll be me.
Oh,
um, I mean, not
Yeah.
off to a hot start in that matchup, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But yeah, there's basically four of us fighting for two spots. Your brother's one of them, and he's been on a bit of a tear himself recently.
yeah, I think he beat me. I think it was 2 weeks ago or something like that, and maybe it was 3 weeks ago. And I tried to get him to do the shotgun challenge that Nick did earlier in the week, but he wasn't doing it.
Wow, that's news to us. That's
Yeah.
quite the
Yeah,
call
I
out
mean,
there.
he wouldn't even have had the shotgun. That would have been me. So
Yeah, but he didn't have the gumption to commit. That's
yeah,
great to know, Carson. So yes, but the shotgun challenge certainly is welcome for any pairs who wish to engage in it on the show. Um, but wow, what a shame that we were not able to enjoy that.
yeah,
Um,
I could still do it.
it's not too late. Yeah, I don't know if you guys are going to play each other again, but you're here both 5-5. I mean, if you want to challenge him publicly to
Yeah, whoever ends the season better, Kyler, has to shotgun. All right, how about that?
heard it here first. No, in this matchup, unfortunately, Terry Mack didn't really do it for your team either. How do you win this game against Nick?
Oh, easy. I mean, we got Kyron Williams who's playing the Patriots. The Patriots are absolutely awful. I know you're a Pats fan, but they're awful. So don't even have to worry about that. He's going to put up 400 million points. Debo, he's been slacking. Kittle's been slacking. They're playing the Seahawks, who are decent, but not the best. So I expect them to both have decent weeks. I don't think Caleb Williams is it. Not that really has anything to do with the Packers offense, but maybe more opportunities for Reed down there. Brock Purdy, he's been, Brock Purdy, he's steady.
He's been good.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we're talking about the Seahawks 49ers games. Our bet this week is actually your Debo Samuel versus my DK Metcalf. And I think it's going to be a pretty good one. They're both, huge powerhouses of men going up against each other.
Yeah. I'm not a huge ETN. I'm not huge on that. That's kind of sketchy for me. I don't think he's going to get that 12.8.
Going up against a rushing defense like Detroit,
yeah.
And he's getting less and less playing time. Yeah, but yeah, good thing you have Kyron, who didn't score a touchdown last week for the first time in like a couple of years. So
yeah, it's because I bet on him to score a touchdown. So haven't touched him all year, and then I touch him this week, and it's just nothing.
Well, so Carson, I hear you're really not too worried about this week's matchup, and I know the projections do have you a little behind now. Nick, are you equally confident that you will take this home?
Oh yeah, no, I mean I know I had to kind of throw away my quarterback position to make him lose one of his wide receiver slots there, get only 13 points to have him only get 1 point there. But I got Christian McCaffrey, buddy, and he's scoring all over the place every day, all day. David Montgomery, like I said, DK Metcalf, Zay Flowers is going to bounce back from last week, go back to 3 touchdowns again against Pittsburgh here.
Lamar can't beat Pittsburgh though.
Lamar, I don't care if they beat Pittsburgh. I mean, I'd like them to tie, honestly, so that neither of them get the win. But if they can just get 120 yards and a tutty, I'll take that.
Yeah, I'm kind of excited about this narrative going on here, Nick, with Christian McCaffrey coming back this time of year. Now, this is the last week of the season that we're playing a new team, and then we're
Mhm.
playing, repeat teams for the last few weeks. But you have a bit of a revenge tour going on here of here's my team with Christian McCaffrey.
Oh yeah,
So we'll see if that comes to fruition.
yeah. No, I mean it's knock on wood, it's not too late, but it's definitely coming back, doing all I can here. Christian did his best last week against Katie. Unfortunately, the rest of my team kind of dropped the ball with DK out, so we'll see how it goes. Bringing it back this week and getting a couple tutties against the Seahawks there.
And while we're on the topic of Christian McCaffrey, let's pretend that you have the opportunity, Nick, to select your draft pick again. Are you going for the first 101?
You know, I've been in this position 2 years in a row, obviously, winning the toilet bowl 2 years in a row, having actually never lost a toilet bowl game in my life, which is kind of a curse, it appears, because both my players, number one overall, got injured last year. If I took Christian last year, number one overall, I would have had the number one and two running backs and would have been very good last year. And this year, it was unfortunate seeing that Monday night, week one, that Christian's not going to play. But we'll have to discuss it with the team, come back in and see exactly how it's going to go if I end up in that position again this year.
Yeah, and that's something you need to think about too, as well as I, Carson, because our teams are both on the cusp, and cusp teams have the best shot at winning this toilet bowl.
Yep.
But I personally am partial to like a fifth or sixth pick. Um, but um, going into the end here, we have the trade deadline coming up in 2 weeks. Are you looking to make any trades with some of these teams that are now out of the playoffs, Carson, to maybe trade some picks to make the final push?
Probably not because I don't think anyone really wants any of my garbage players. They've all been not the greatest, but I mean, medium of the standings. They're
I'll trade
I
you live right now my entire bench for Kyron. You can use
let
number one player.
me see. No.
I'll throw in
Why?
Taysom Hill.
What's up with Kincaid? Why is he out this week?
He's injured. I think he's already been ruled out against KC. I mean, you can have him too. Yeah, but
Nah, no, I'm good.
Um, Now, Carson, since the rule change last year, not only can you trade players, but you can trade picks. So you could trade away like a third round pick and pick up somebody like like a Christian McCaffrey from Nick next week if his team, all of a sudden is eliminated or something like that. So
Might
that's
might might be something to think about.
that happened a lot last year. Hasn't happened very much yet this year, but I'm guessing over the next couple of weeks we'll see some moves that direction. It seemed like third round picks were a very popular thing for top teams to give away. I think you did it, Nick. I think
yeah, and I got
Kenny
the
did
extra
it.
third round this year.
Oh, you got the extra one. It was Kyle that gave away his third round.
Yeah,
Um, so yeah, are you considering sticking any of these guys off your bench into the roster, Carson?
Uh, to be determined. I haven't gone through. I usually check Sunday morning, and that's when I'll make my final decisions. I'm in like 6 leagues, so I just spend like 30 minutes in the morning just going through every one of them.
I see. That's a lot of leagues. Yeah,
Yeah, it's too many.
I once did three and I thought it was too much. And now I do two. Um, but yeah, that's an undertaking.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, one of the choices I see is Sam Darnold versus Brock Purdy. Obviously, Sam Darnold's had a surprising year, but he's fallen off a bit recently. I think that
He
makes the
has.
choice a little easier this week.
Yeah, I mean, even though they're playing the Titans, who aren't doing great this year, I just don't trust him. I thought he was. I picked him up. I picked him up early in the season, I believe, and I played him. Bye weeks and stuff like that, and he did all right, nothing crazy. And then, but yeah, I think Brock's definitely got that starting spot.
Yeah, I'd probably go Brock too. Versus Seattle, I haven't even looked at the numbers for Seattle, but I always think of them as being a good defense to play
Yep.
against. Um,
Yeah, they got the 12th man.
Yeah. James
Now,
in San Francisco though, so yeah, probably good pick going Brock Hard there.
Yeah, yeah.
and Nick, any other matchups that you're looking at besides your own matchup here?
Yeah, I'm looking up Kyler versus Kyle here. Two former champs here, going up against each other. Kyle obviously has lost 2 out of 3. Kyle's lost 2 in a row, yeah.
Hmm.
And Kyler's moving up, have a couple wins in a row here. I think it's going to be a lot of fun going up against each other. Obviously, they have basically the same name, except there's no town in Texas named Kyler. But
And no Kyler Fest.
no Kyler Fest, yeah. But looking at their teams, they're honestly, I mean, there's a couple, diamonds in there, but a lot of like B-level players. This could be just like a 99 to 100 kind of game here.
How we think T. Higgins is going to do? I mean,
Yeah.
he apparently was all about him running up that little hill, is based on how he's going to play.
Yeah, man, he goes too hard in practice, and that's why he always hurts himself. But I think he's going to summit the hill this week. I think I've been a big T. Higgins fan ever since his rookie year here, but I think he'll have a good enough game to get Kyle a win here.
Yeah, I don't think I know this Hill story, Carson. What's going on with that?
I saw it on ESPN. I guess they always debate if he's going to have a good week based on how he runs out of the locker room up onto this hill, onto the practice field. And if he sprints up it, he's supposed to have a good week. And if he's just walking up it, then he's not. And I guess he was running up it this week. So
Oh, wow. So it's a little bit of a Puxatawny Phil situation. What you're telling
yeah, means nothing. But everyone's just like, what's he doing?
Carson, are you
Um,
familiar with the Derrick Henry Vermont story there? It's kind of the same thing that
Uh,
whenever there's snow in Vermont, Derrick Henry has an amazing game. And whenever there's wintertime and there's no snow in Vermont, Derrick Henry has a bad game.
I did not know that. But
That's why they call him the Yeti.
oh, okay.
Yeah, I guess we are getting to that time of year where there could be snow in Vermont, and as far as I'm aware, there is not. Although,
There's not as of Thursday.
so watch out. I think Ducky is the one who has Derrick Henry on his
Yeah,
team.
we'll be checking.
I mean,
And
that guy's a tank, no matter if there's snow or not.
well, he's also an old man, so this is the time of year that without the snow, rejuvenating his life power, he may be running out of steam. Who knows?
Yeah.
Um,
But Nate, yeah, what matchup are you looking at this week?
I will be looking at. So this is another matchup with playoff implications. Mid-tier Nick versus our commish Matt. Both of these teams have been hurting recently. Um, as mid-tier Nick kind of publicly declared, his team is falling apart. He did get 35 points from Saquon on Thursday night. That doesn't hurt, and now he has the big advantage over Matt. I would love for Nick to lose, just like I'd love for you to lose, Carson, because I need an advantage over you guys who have beaten me. Um, but the yeah, I think you said it before on the show, Nick. You think that Matt's team is falling apart. His team looks better this week than last week with the bye weeks. But
Yeah.
it's one that with a lot of implications.
No, he definitely has a good running back core here. But trading away Jamar Chase is still a head scratcher there. Look, if Nick didn't have a 35-point lead right now with Saquon, I would have to slide with Matt here, but I think it's going to be a lot closer because of the current lead there.
Yeah, both of these teams are teams that are capable of good weeks, but a lot of boom bust guys. George Pickens has become a bit more consistent with Russ
Danger us.
throwing the ball.
Yeah.
And remember, are you a Pittsburgh fan, Carson?
No,
Philly.
no, nope, not
Who,
Philly either.
who's your team?
Well, I picked the Jets like 3 years ago because they were the worst team in the league, and I don't really have a team, but everyone around me is Phillies fans, or well, Eagles fans, Philly fans.
Mhm.
But they were all like, "Oh, you need a team," because I just laugh at them every time they choke. And so they were like, "You need a team." All right, I'll just pick the worst team because then you can't really say anything to me.
And then you learned that was so wrong because people have lots of things to say about the Jets.
Yep. Now that they drafted Roger or not drafted, picked up Rogers, and
Yeah.
I just don't care. I do like the Lions. I was always a fan of Aiden Hutchinson, even when he was in college. I was a fan of him. So I kind of root for the Lions, but I'm not like a Lions fan.
Yeah, I'm pulling for the Lions this year too. I would consider myself in that boat. Their fans deserve a period of
Yep,
of
something at least.
something. Um, but yeah, in
Also,
terms
their
of
head coach is a psychopath, which is awesome.
you
He's
mean
pretty
the
great.
Dan Campbell that you're talking about?
Yeah, Dan Campbell. Yep.
But kneecaps.
Yeah,
Yep.
psychopath in a good way, I would say. He's
Yes.
someone
Yes.
I would love to hang with if he
Oh
was
yeah.
ever happy to have him on the show, Dan, if you ever get his message.
I'll let him know. Shoot him a message.
Exactly. Let's look at the offers report. It's looking at this list. One of the things I have to tell you about Karsen is that you and Kenny have the same little picture, and it makes me confuse your teams constantly. Is there anything
Yep.
that can be done about this?
I had it first.
All right. Well, you heard it here. Kenny, Karsen had it first. You got to change your picture. Um, but it looks like you're not really on this list. I'm not on this list too much either. Um, but a lot of people were going in on Tajay Spears this week. Kyle ended up picking up for $9. I was surprised by that. Having Tony Pollard, do not love that people think Tajay is going to be productive. Do you guys feel like this was a good move to be spending $9 on Tajay?
I mean, Spears got a lot of carries last week, so maybe they know something we don't. But I mean, I don't think it's a bad pickup. I don't think it's. I mean, $9 is like nothing crazy if you have the money right now banked, and you know, don't hate it.
Yeah. I mean, Tajay was drafted behind. He was with Derrick Henry for a couple of years. I don't think he's ever really done anything, but yeah, last week it was kind of 50-50 on the splits there as far as running goes. But going against Minnesota, I don't think Tajay is a good pickup at all this week.
Well, I really hope that it ends up being a bit of a dud, of course, because my team needs to have all the carries with Tony Pollard. You picked up Marquez Valdez-Scantling, who I think everyone was surprised to learn is on the Saints.
Well, I knew that before the season started, but yeah, I think I might be the only one, only because MVS for MVP.
Yeah.
3 tutties last week.
Yeah, that was quite a thing. I assumed he had retired, but no, he's still there, and unfortunately you missed him by 1 week, so we'll see. Yeah, Russell Wilson looks like got some interest. You also went in on Rashad Bateman. I spent a little money on Gus Edwards. He just came back. He had a very productive year last year, let's not forget. So he
Yeah.
may be just what my team needs.
Shane being eliminated and still spending $1 on Drake May. Just let's see what he's trying to shape his team into last year. Last year is the Johnsons. See what he turns into this year.
I forget. Last year he did also have a bad year. I had forgotten about that. I also wanted to pull up the budget summary just because we're getting down to the final few weeks of the season here. Unsurprisingly, John has $100 left. Karsen, you have 88, so you've got some spending power. What do you envision for this money?
Honestly, just if there's an injury and I have to dump it all on one person, I have that. I have it.
Yeah, you got the ability.
Yep.
If that running back shows up, I guess I no players jumping to my mind for who I would spend $80 on, but I'm sure they exist. You win that.
Well, the Brock Purdy a couple years ago when he was no one drafted him, and then he got the starting spot and everyone was going for him.
Yeah.
That kind of situation.
Yep. And so that is a bit of power there because even over, I think you have the second most money left at the moment.
Yeah.
So really,
Katie has 98.
Yep.
okay, he has 98. Yep, didn't see that.
Was she wagering pennies?
Yeah.
But she has made a lot of roster moves. She's just been waiting till Thursday to do it.
Yeah, and to be fair, John has made some rush moves too, and he's failed on a couple bets on Wednesdays, but
Um, yeah, so it's interesting. I think people spent more this year than last year. People are kind of figuring out what this budget is all about.
yeah.
Um,
And Nate, how are you feeling with your $17? You're just ahead of Kyle with his $16.
well, the $50 I spent on Kareem Hunt was so worth it. He's been so good, but it looks like his time's coming to an end as Isaiah Pacheco miraculously comes back from the broken leg after like 2 months.
Yeah.
But yeah, I suspect over the next couple of weeks there are going to be some more trades happening, maybe some big pick swaps, people selling for next season, that kind of thing. It'll be
Yeah,
interesting to watch.
I think the draft next year is going to be interesting too because there's a lot of guys that were on the keepers and they're not going to be able to be kept this year. So
Yeah.
Great
If I'm
point.
gonna be able to get Jamar Chase on my team, that's crazy.
Yeah, yeah. The rule, if I remember correctly, is that you can't keep somebody 2 years in a row, right?
unless you're
That,
Matt,
unless you're Matt, because I would love to keep Nico Collins, but if that's an official rule, I won't be able to get Nico for a 13th round pick again.
because Matt's had Jamar Chase for like 5 years, right, or something
His
like
whole
that.
career.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the 2 year in a row thing just started, so that's why I traded him away this year apparently.
Yeah, a little suspicious on that one. Out of all of the suspicious things, that's the most real. Jamar Gate, if you will. Um,
Yeah,
but
there's a lot of gates going on in the Discord.
Yeah.
as always, it's a league fraught with scandal. So that's why we're here to let the people know. Um, but anything else that you guys wanted to add before we sign off for the day?
Yeah. Do
Uh,
you have any words of encouragement for your team to get them over the hump, make it into the playoffs here?
just get out there and play actual football. Stop worrying about your money and actually, play through the small injuries. They're a bunch of babies in the NFL. That's why I've never really been a huge fan of the NFL.